Hey, how is it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Rate My Ride, this time with Rate My Ride number 7. In this video, we've got 35 of my subscribers' Ellis Tuner DLC car builds to go through that I'm really excited to show you guys. Now, before we get started, feel free to check the description of this video for a link to a Google form. So there you can vote on your favorite build from this video, and you can also check the description for instructions on how to join my Discord server so you can participate in future episodes of this series. And with all that out of the way, let's get into the submissions. So first off, we have Cazze Karen Sultan RS Classic, and this is a full-on rally build. Really liking the color scheme we went for on this with like that faded blue and the red and the white. Normally you'd go for like the obviously signature STI livery with the blue and the yellow and then the gold wheels, but this one is a bit of a different take and I really like it. Only couple things I'd change are maybe the wheels. I might put on some off-road wheels to better fit that rally look, and I also might change up the front bumper. Personally not a huge fan of the way those fog lights look, but other than that, man, I really like it. Next up, we have yorozu's Anis Remus in a street style drift build. I absolutely love this style, and I love the fact that he absolutely nailed it. He's got the bright color scheme, he's got the really loud chrome wheels, and he's got all of the aggressive body mods, and it's also slammed to the floor. I think it looks absolutely amazing. Only thing I'd change is maybe the exhaust. Not a fan of the fact that the exhaust sticks out so far, and then there's a slash cut. Just not a big fan of that style, but the rest of it, I really like it, dude. Definitely a cool build. Next up, we have Darkvoid's Anis Euros, and this reminds me a lot of a build I'd probably see out there on Instagram, which makes sense because he said he wanted it to be like a sad boy drift car and like a project car, and I definitely think he nailed that look. He's got like the unpainted fenders, he's got like that slam stance with the neons, kind of hot boyish, but also like kind of unfinished, so I think he nailed that look. Personally not a fan of the little like fin things that are on the rear bumper. I would just leave the rear bumper stock. I'm personally not a fan of those, but the rest of the build, man, I really like it. Not personally my taste, but I respect the look that he was going for. Next up, we have MysticFlame's Anis Remus drift build, and yeah, man, I really like the color scheme on this one with like that reddish pink almost on the primary and then the white accents as well. I really dig that contrast. I like the fact that he matched the white on the wheels with the white lettering on the livery. Personally not a huge fan of all the carbon bits at the rear of the car though, like the carbon fenders and the trunk and the wing. Not personally a fan of that look, and the fact that the livery kind of carries over onto that. It doesn't really look as much as a drift car. It looks like more of a track car, and in my opinion, just leaving them the same as the rest of the body color would have looked a little bit better. In addition, that kind of like orangish interior, not personally a fan of the way that looks, especially with like that pinkish primary color. I might have just changed the interior color to like a gray or a black or something so it's not as loud, but other than that, man, I really like this build, and the fact that he's using it for drifting is always great. And next up, we have Sal's Vapid Dominator ASP, and this is kind of an aggressive street and kind of stancy build. I really like all the things that he put on this car, like the wing. He's got the aggressive front bumper. He's got like the cowl on the hood. In addition, the red primary color is beautiful, and I think that the white stripes sets it off nice. It adds a bit of contrast without, you know, adding too much color to the build. It doesn't really confuse you, but it all kind of works really well. In addition, the wheels that he chose too, really like the deep dish style of those, and the fact that he painted them black. It's really discreet, but they're very clean. Personally, not a huge fan of the side exit exhausts. As far as I can see, the side pipes kind of are obstructed by the skirts. I would have gone for a rear exit exhaust instead, but other than that, I absolutely love how clean this thing is. Next up, we have BeefnCheeseTheFourth's Anis 0350, and this is a die-hard track car. It's got pretty much every element of a track build. It's got the hood pins, the front bumper, the skirts with the spats in the rear, and that massive rear wing, in addition to the roof scoop and that really decked out interior with the roll cage. Definitely liking the look of this build. The only thing I might change are the wheels. I might go for a different set of wheels, maybe something that didn't have as much chrome so they're a little bit more discreet and stealthy. Also, maybe might have thrown on a rear diffuser, but that's really about the only things that I'd add to this build. Other than that, man, he killed that race look. Very discreet, but also pretty clean. Next up, we have Chanyan 53's Anis Remus, and he says he went for like a 2000 street drift style build with this one, and I absolutely love the look of it. The look of the body kit with all of the modifications, the D-Max hood, the paint color he chose even, I think it's really clean and all works together really well. The only thing I'd change is I might get rid of that black trim on the skirts or just above the skirts, and I also might have changed up the rear bumper so that it better matched up with the body kit that he chose. Those are the only two things I might change. Other than that though, I love this build. Next up, we have Brave One 2016's Dinka Archie 3000 that he calls the White Disappearance, and it's a really cool name for a really cool build. Personally loving the combination of the aggressive aero, but also a little bit more of the street inspiration as well. He's got like those big track wheels with the tire letters, so it's kind of a stancy build, but also has obviously a lot of those aggressive track modifications too. Loving the combination of the two. I love the color scheme, and yeah, man, one of the cleanest builds I've seen so far. Absolutely loving this build. Next up, we have IceToKevsChain's Ubermax Cypher, and he says he went for like an IRL spec for the BMW M2. And yeah, man, there's not really much to say about this build other than it's beautiful. I love that like BMW inspired color. Very, very clean, and in the right light, it really pops, which I like. Also like the wheels that he chose as well. I think these are some of the new track wheels. I think they fit the look of this car really good. Other than that, there's really not much that I changed. I really do appreciate the real life, realistic spec. Next up, we have Insanity Wolf's Ubermax Cypher build, and yeah, I really like this thing because it's kind of just in your face. It really pops with that really bright orange color. Absolutely love that. The wheels are pretty discreet, which is nice. Kept it kind of clean there. Personally, not a fan of the hood he chose. It looks like there's some hood vents there. Not personally a huge fan of that style. In addition, the grille that he chose as well. Not a fan of that like vertical look. It looks kind of like prison bars or something like that. Those are the only two things that I can change based on the pictures that I'd see. Just send in some more pictures next time so maybe we could see the rear of the car. Other than that though, it looks like a really clean build. Next up, we have Arka's Fister Comet S2, and this is one of the most beautiful and unique Comet S2 builds I've seen. While they did keep it clean, there's still a lot of kind of aspects that really set it apart. They've got the big whale tail spoiler, a lot of generally RWB inspired modifications, which is really nice. Got that loud green color scheme, but they also kind of set it off with like the black accents on the livery and the line across the front bumper as well. Very clean, but also pretty discreet as well. I love that like half cut rear bumper with the turbos. Perfect match of like stance and also street inspiration with this build, and I think it looks absolutely beautiful. Next up, we have Glowing Nugget's Fister Comet S2 build, another really clean stanced S2 build. I absolutely love the look of this thing. He's got this really nice metallic blue paint scheme, which I love because in the right light, it really kind of pops, but normally it's pretty discreet, which is cool. Kind of fits the look of this car, very kind of refined, I guess. Got those deep dish wheels and that half cut bumper as well. Love the look of that. Again, nothing too crazy out there, just the right amount of extra kind of spice to it. So yeah, I like this build. Next up, we have TIRROJGaming's Dinka RT3000. He went for like a stance kind of like build with this one. Personally liking the look of this. I really like that metallic, like almost military green paint scheme that he went for. Only couple things I'd change are at the rear of the car. I might get rid of that massive ducktail. I'm not personally a fan of how that looks because it sticks out so far, and it also doesn't cover the full width of the trunk. I also might have gone for maybe a different exhaust that might have better fit that half cut rear bumper. I think the exhaust kind of hang very, very low in relation to how the bumper is, so to make it a little bit cleaner back there, I might have just run maybe a different bumper or changed up the exhaust. But other than that, man, I really, really like this build. Next up, we have BigAlTheUnit's Volker Werner HKR, and yeah, man, this build is absolutely beautiful. Loving that classic look with like the livery on it, in addition to like the classic, you know, deep dish JDM wheels and the aggressive front end with the oil cooler. Very unique taking a build like this. Love that he added more than just like the basics. He kind of went a little bit further to add the livery and all that stuff as well. Love the look of this thing. There's nothing really that I change about it. Next up, we have that Car Dude 445's Vapid Dominator ASP build. Not really much to say about this, man. It looks pretty clean. There's not a lot done to it, which I like. He didn't go crazy with it. Kept it clean, got this nice, like, kind of faded yellow color scheme, but he's also got a few other accents that kind of add to that street look. He's got that interior with the carbon roof and also a different set of wheels. There's not really much I change about it. I really like the look of this thing. Next up, we have the Smokin's Karen Fudo GTX Formula Drift style build, and yeah, man, I think he absolutely nailed that look. He's got like this nice classic Japanese inspired livery, really aggressive aero as well. He's got the body kit with the wide fenders. He's got the deep dish wheels. I think he nailed the look that he was going for. Not really much that I'd change about it other than maybe the deflectors that go over the windows. I might get rid of those entirely, but other than that, I really, really like this drift build, man. Very clean. And next up, we have Confused Kami's Emperor Vector, and this is a pretty unique take on a stance build. He said he went for that more like stance inspiration, and I can definitely see that with like that cream primary color in addition to the white on the wheels, but there's a lot of other things that kind of take away from that stance look. He's got like all of these aggressive aero bits with the front bumper, the fenders, the interior as well. I personally might just leave all those things stock or maybe kind of back it down a little bit to better play into that clean stance look. Other than that though, I definitely like this build. I like the color scheme and the wheels that he chose. Next up, we have Phoenix 5's Annis 0350 based off of Cazze's Mazda RX-7 FD from Initial D. I think he nailed the look. Pretty much every aspect of this build is accurate to that car. And yeah, there's not much else to say about it. Beautiful build, my guy. Thank you. Next up, we have BLVK33's Emperor Vector, and he says he went for more of like a stance kind of VIP style build, and I definitely think he nailed the look of that. He's got like this nice kind of discreet black color scheme, but obviously there's a little bit more to it with those aggressive over fenders with the big chrome wheels and that insane lowered stance with the camber. Really, the only thing that I might change about this build is the hood. I might just keep the clean stock hood as opposed to the one with the vents that he chose. Other than that though, definitely a beautiful build. Next up, we have Lulu YGHBT's Vapid Dominator GTT, and this is definitely a really unique take on a GTT build because he went for more of like a classic, like rusty kind of track car build. I absolutely love the look of this thing with like the livery, like the faded livery with the little bits of rust all around the car. Has that really aggressive front end. He's got the fender flares with the deep dish kind of NASCAR style wheels. Absolutely love the look of that. I personally would have never thought to do a build like this, but this thing looks super clean. Only thing I might change is that interior color though. I might change it to like a gray or a black. The white that he chose looks like kind of out of place on a build like this. That's really the only thing I'd mess around with, but other than that, man, really like this build. Next up, we have Sinky's Karen Previon, and this is probably one of the most unique Previon builds I've seen. Absolutely loving the look of this thing because he kept it really clean on the exterior, but he still kind of mixed it up a lot, especially with the tri-spoke wheels. I think those things look really clean and definitely fit the look of that like kind of old classic Japanese stance car style that you see out there on Instagram. Really love the look of that. Definitely kind of makes the build pop, sets it off really nicely. Very, very unique. Only thing I might change are the skirts. I might choose a set of skirts that don't have the two like bulges on either end of it. That's really the only thing I'd play around with. Other than that, I love this build. Very, very unique. Next up, we have Kaito's Anis Euros, and he went for a very clean stance build. I love this like scarlet red color. It definitely pops and sets the build off quite a lot. In addition to that, he's got like these nice modernized track wheels, which I think fit this Z very, very well. Personally, the only thing I'd change about this build is the interior, because whatever interior change he did added like that fuel door to the outside window. So I might just get rid of that, maybe leave it stock so you don't have that additional exterior change. But other than that, man, very, very clean build. Next up, we have Shaq's Anis Remus, and this thing is pure textbook, man. Looks absolutely beautiful. I love this white on red color scheme. He's got those deep dish classic mesh rims, and the fact that he colored the faces white to match up with the rest of the car looks absolutely perfect. I think it sets it off really, really nicely. Love this thing. Not really anything I'd change. It's the perfect mix of like stance, but also has some more like street inspiration as well. Looks like a really nice and well-balanced show car. Absolutely beautiful, man. Keep it up. This thing is awesome. Next up, we have R&B Man 92's Vapid Dominator GTT, and another very clean and refined build. He's got like this nice kind of brighter brown color, which sets off the build really nicely, plays into more of like that classic refined look. However, the only thing I'm not a fan of is first off the banner over the windshield, as well as the front end with like the grills that go over the headlights. Personally, don't think those look as clean. I definitely think those kind of take away from that clean, refined look, so I might maybe get rid of those just to keep it all clean all around. But other than that, man, very, very nice build. Next up, we have Cold Anemone 4's Anis 0350, and this thing is stupid clean, man. I love this like deep metallic red. I think it sets off the car really nicely. In addition to that, every other thing that he chose on the exterior really like plays into that clean look. It's not too crazy or wild or out there, so very, very clean and refined. There's really nothing I'd change about this build. This is very, very clean. Next up, we have great SRT8's Karen Sultan RS Classic with a really, really nice rally build. Obviously, he went for that signature blue on yellow livery. Absolutely loving the look of that with the off-road wheels as well. Not really much to say about it. He nailed that like signature STI color scheme really well, and it looks like he's putting it to great use rallying, so there's not much more I'd change about it, man. Very, very nice build. Next up, we have Nick's Fister Comet S2 with a very, very nice realistic spec. Absolutely loving this like deep blue that he chose. It's probably some sort of custom crew color, but it's absolutely beautiful. Love like how deep it is, and it's like a metallic as well, so it's really nice in the right light. In addition to that, the wheels that he chose as well fit the car perfectly. Looks like an overall very clean and realistic OEM spec, and there's really not much that I change about it. Next up, we have John the Hang's Vapid Dominator GTT with by far one of the most beautiful colors I've ever seen. It's like this deep metallic pink, which really sets the car off nicely. He's also got some more aggressive bits on there as well, like the roll cage and that really kind of decked out interior. He's got a more aggressive front end as well. I like the look of that, but personally, the only thing that I'd change is the spoiler in the rear. Not personally a fan of the look of that. I think it looks way too modern for a car like the Dominator GTT. I'd probably go for another wing, but other than that, man, there's really nothing I'd change about this. This thing is beautiful. Next up, we have Hero's Dinka RT3000 drift build, and I absolutely love the look of this thing. It's very discreet, but it's also got some extra aggressive elements in there as well. Obviously slammed to the ground, he's got these really nice new track wheels. He's got the big Wang Gang spoiler in the back, in addition to that livery, but he also kept it clean with like that pretty discreet gunmetal gray paint scheme. Perfect combination of styles here, and it looks like he's putting it to good use drifting, so yeah, man, I dig this thing. I love it. Next up, we have Cubbo YT's Karen Calico GTF with like a textbook rally build. This thing is super cool. I love the colorway that he went for with like the blue, white, and the red to match up with the colors on that LTD livery that he chose. Not much more to say about it. There's nothing I'd change. He went for that rally look, and I think he absolutely nailed it. Next up, we have Obelis's Karen Sultan RS Classic with a really nice street build that looks a lot like something I'd see either in a Fast and Furious movie, one of the earlier ones, or in like an early on Need for Speed game or something like that. Really liking the look of this build, definitely brings back some nostalgic vibes, which is cool. Personally, the only things I'm not a fan of are the roof scoop and those red hood pins. I might just get rid of those two things. The rest of it though, very aggressive, very cool take on a RS Classic build. Next up, we have Dankato's Ubermax Cypher, and this thing is a super clean stance build. He's got just the right amount done to the exterior to kind of give it a unique look without making it look too loud or kind of taking away from the cleanliness of it. He's got like these really nice over fenders in addition to that really discreet ducktail. Loving the look of this build. He kept it clean but still added a little bit extra to it, and I love it, man. This thing's super clean. Next up, we have Top Secret R35's Karen Sultan RS Classic. Very aggressive, but really clean street build. Loving this really nice bright red color that he chose. It really sets the build off. Also like the fact that he kept it pretty clean with those carbon accents on the roof and on the gurney flap on the spoiler. Very clean, but also just a little bit extra kind of aggressiveness to it as well. Very nice build, man. There's pretty much nothing I'd change about it. Also, guys, do make sure to subscribe to Top Secret R35's channel because he makes some amazing and really entertaining automotive content in GTA 5. And next up, we have ZexQ's Anis Euros, and he went for a really nice stance build. I like this kind of faded blue color he chose on the primary, and I also like the wheels that he chose as well. I can't tell if they're chrome or if they're white, but they look really nice and they're definitely unique on a build like this. To keep it a little bit cleaner though, I would have gone with a slightly different front bumper. The front bumper he chose has like that carbon vent near the right side headlight, and I'm personally not a fan of that. To keep it clean, I might have just done one solid bumper, but really that's the only thing that I changed. Other than that, a very clean stance build. And last but not least, we have Smokey's Karen Fudo GTX, kind of D1 GP style drift build. This thing is absolutely beautiful. I love this like blue colorway that's all around the car with the livery as well as the primary color. Looks absolutely amazing, in addition to all the body mods he chose as well, with obviously the big Wang Gang spoiler in the rear. The only thing I might change are the wheels to kind of better fit that like classic Japanese look. I might have gone for a slightly smaller set of wheels, but other than that, man, this thing is a beautiful drift build. So those were all of the submissions that we received for this 7th episode of Rate My Ride. Now, as I said at the beginning of this video, feel free to check the description for a form to vote on your favorite build, and also for instructions on how to make a submission for the next episode. As always, if you guys enjoyed this video, feel free to drop a like on it, leave any feedback or suggestions you might have about the series in the comments, and also consider subscribing to my channel for more GTA 5 content like this coming very soon. Thank you all so much for watching, and have an awesome day.